Welcome to Humbly the Best Celtics podcast. I'm your host, Brandon, here with Mike and Joel, three diehard fans and friends breaking down each game throughout the season for you. The journey to Banner 18.
The Celtics' six-game win streak, season best, comes to an end tonight with a nail biter. Who would have thought against the Charlotte Hornets in Charlotte, overtime. Disappointing game for the Celtics, but started the week off huge. Opened up against Philly. Talked about the last podcast. We needed a win there. Lost there earlier in the season, and to go back at home against Philly and to win there in the building we had previously lost was huge answer by the boys. A huge game from Tatum that night, 29 points and 10 rebounds from Holiday. So it was a huge game. Then next two games we continued on the road in our four-game road streak there. We had a game against Toronto, game against Memphis. I enjoyed them for the fact of, yes, some may thought they should have been a blowout, especially the Memphis game, but to see how we responded in the clutch, in those big moments there, blowing leads. And last year we would see blow leads and that was about it. And there went the game. But obviously in those two games, and we had seen previously in the year, blew the leads, but was able to stick with it and come up and grind out a win, which I think is big for this team, especially with so many new pieces. Then we come in tonight and big lead and we blow it, 18 points at one point, and then we blow it in the fourth quarter with just a couple minutes left, led up a massive run to the Hornets. No timeouts, some rough decisions, and the Celtics lose 121-118 in overtime. Not too happy about losing to the Hornets. I know it was a back-to-back. I know there was no Horford. I know there was no White. I know it was our fourth game on the road. I haven't been home in a week, but you would really like to see a win against the Hornets to continue the streak.
Yeah, it really is a stereotypical look ahead spot with Wednesday coming up, everyone getting back home. I mean, just the way the world works, everyone's looking ahead to what happens later in the week with the holiday. But it really not a great performance from a couple guys. The bench really did play well. And the one thing about this past week in recap is everyone that's played on the bench has had moments where they've really looked great. Banton a couple nights ago, Quetta looked pretty good. And then the other guys, Pritchard looked great tonight, obviously his season high. Hauser's been a flamethrower. And then Cornette's had some moments too where he's looked great out there too. So not all doom and gloom, even though it may seem like it because we just lost to Charlotte, who's probably not trying to win that much. But yeah, some great performances, I think, for what we're looking for some more bench. And then Tatum, of course, a great game tonight, except for that one baseline cut and then missing a free throw. So what can you do? You don't win them all, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, I felt like, it was going to happen. I just was concerned about the legs, shorthanded on the road again, and the back to back. Tatum started off hot, right? He had 31 points. Then we only see him drop but 14 points there in the second half plus overtime. Obviously we see him kind of just die out. He was really starting to settle for the threes in that third quarter, just was chucking them up nonstop. And I felt like it was just, it's a lot more work to get into the paint and score on those guys. I know they had some paint presence tonight in the Hornets, but we kind of just really stopped playing the game that was working for us. That got us that big lead there in that second quarter. That really led to that. Mike, you like drawing up plays for overtime, or what are we doing over there?
Yeah, no, just kind of going over, I think some of the four keys of the game that I thought were what lost us the game is the turnovers. I mean, Drew Holiday had 7 of our 13 turnovers. They just all came at really poor times. We shot the 3-ball terrible tonight. I thought we took a lot of low percentage shots too, especially down the stretch where I would have liked to see us go to the bucket or drive and dish. And then again, like a guy like Hauser, 1 of 9 from 3, where a guy who's been playing really, really well in his role off the bench. I think sometimes throwing a guy in a starter, different players, and he didn't, definitely didn't shoot the ball well. 10 missed free throws. I mean, you can't win many games missing 10 free throws, especially in a closer game. And then second chance points, they got a ton of second opportunities again, a team that we should have beaten. We kind of beat ourselves by not rebounding the ball as a team. They just beat us a lot of those 50-50 balls. Like you hear the announcers talk about those 50-50 balls. They just wanted a little bit more than us. And I think it's just part of having a target on your back where you're every single night where you're going to get team's best effort because they know you're the measuring stick that everyone's kind of trying to measure up to because you're the best record in the league right now. So all that's kind of turned into a nice little L for us down the stretch.
I think that's a good point, Mike, too, with Hauser being in a different role because we've seen him start twice now. We've seen him start in that Philly game and then this game. In the Philly game, he shot, 2 of 8 from 3. So he was at like 25%. And then the 2 next games coming off the bench, he was at above 50. He was at 50% in the Toronto game and then 5 of 6 from 3 in that Memphis game. So he's really obviously a guy that fits well in his role. So I'd be interested to see if Joe makes that decision again to start him. Or have
he's
another
not
guy.
a 37 a minute night guy, and that's fine. Like how he's, it stinks to come into tonight after a week of just Sam Hauser just flamethrowing all week long. So it is what it is. It's one game for him, shoot or shoot. But yeah, 37 minutes tonight, 1 of 9. Obviously, 2 of those would have 2 more of those going down just would have helped. And he's been absolutely a flamethrower. But yeah, that's not his role. Like, and he knows that, but that's not his role. Honestly, I would rather see a guy like Brissett or somebody more in that role, even just for the hustle, especially at that point where he's not giving us points anyways, and letting Hauser, because what Hauser's been giving us off the bench has been absolutely huge. And especially tonight, you didn't have Horford coming off the bench. Horford's been giving us some great spark and points off the bench. You really limited yourself tonight to Peyton Pritchard. He was the only guy off the bench that you could say, go get you a bucket. You weren't, I hope no one was making a Luke Cornett, but that's kind of where we were tonight, being shorthanded and having Hauser off that role.
Yeah, you're right. And his minutes were plus 35 in that Philly game too. So there is something to be said. I don't think it's coincidental that he started and played the most minutes in the 2 games this season that he's done that. It's been 2 of his worst performances, especially when he had been so hot. So let's hope coming back this week, going into our big game on Wednesday, he's coming off the bench and he can be that flamethrower again. And I'm sure being at home will be good because every bench player gets up for home games. Or at least that's what the cliche is.
I would say the big takeaway for me tonight is obviously Tatum just absolutely scorching. I guess as a positive, if we can take any positive from this game is Tatum just absolutely just having a monster game. And then Pritchard, one thing I like to see about Pritchard's game tonight is that when he needed to be the guy, he could be the guy. Like when we needed a bucket, he also after he kind of getting going a little bit, I liked how he kind of took a little step back and was looking for guys to get him open shots off driving and dishing. Hauser just couldn't knock him down, but he had a few passes that were just to wide open guys that kind of again.
Mike, I totally disagree.
Huh?
I totally disagree.
About what?
Pritchard can't be that guy, dude. He was killing us
tonight.
Yes, dude. That one play where he had the ball. I know we got it later in the shot clock, and he's like pump faking left and right on Marvel. Like, dude, give the ball up.
But that's the thing. Did you watch the play? No one was open on that play.
Yeah, there was no one coming to the ball.
Dude, I don't want Peyton Pritchard on the court in an overtime again.
That's crazy.
Me either. I'd rather Derek White, but who
100%.
Who else did you have to choose from tonight?
Pritchard was your best guy, your second option outside of Tatum.
I agree. Tonight was tonight. But to hype him up, he had a good game, but in the clutch of the game, he did me nothing.
What? None of our guys really did.
Yeah, that's why we.
You're picking out one play of the game. Is one bad spot of the whole game. That's what you bring up. Pritchard with a shot.
Oh, I have a list.
And a pick and roll with Porzingis having their center on him, like he's trying to pump fake to get a guy that's 7 foot to try to get
in the air to drop out. Yeah, and here's the thing, that timeout,
create a play.
The timeout.
Go back and watch the dang play.
You can't throw away the ball. It's not
and he's got the ball in his hand.
You can't get around him. Put him on your head.
You got to run backwards and throw it over your head? That's the only time.
It was useless to shoot it on him. What was the point of that? I would have rather him toss it backwards to Tatum and him shoot it over this guy.
Tatum was in the corner.
Tatum was to the left of him.
We'll have to find
there was nothing good that was going to come out of that play.
The play's going to pop up on the left side of your screen, fans. Joel's gonna edit that in.
We'll find that play and we'll post it on.
Regardless, it was a terrible play.
It
Mike,
was.
Yes, he had
Okay,
a good
you're
game,
taking
but he
one play
offered
out of the
nothing
game.
in the end of the fourth quarter and overtime. He offered nothing.
So that's
he had
not true.
Another one. He had a huge three in the corner and he missed it. Wide open. Missed
You gotta
it.
be kidding me. That's what we're talking about. Is this
So,
he get three?
Hold
missed
on.
shots on the night?
Give me a second here.
Oh my
So
God.
here's the thing with Joe called the timeout at the end of the fourth, so our past midway in the fourth, right? And he benched everyone, all the starters. None of the starters were on the court coming out of that timeout. And Pritchard and the Pritchardettes built a 9-point lead. The starters come back in and they go on a 9-0 run to end the game. So, I mean, honestly, like, you can't really ask him to do too much more.
I agree.
At that point.
But I just think the statement was wild. All I'm saying, yes, did Pritchard have a good game? Yes, he was good off the bench. But to say, like, the takeaway was Pritchard was big in the big moments. Like,
that's not what I said. That is not what I said.
You said that he was
in that run, during that run. Like, I saw him play when we needed a bucket during that stretch, like what Joel was just talking about.
The whole last 4 minutes we needed a bucket. He was MIA.
So was everyone else on the team, though.
Okay, so nobody was a highlight.
Tatum had 45, so I don't think you can say
exactly.
that. And Pritchard had 21.
Pritchard in his role went during that time when it was all Pritchard and a bunch of other dudes. Pritchard came through and had nice buckets and was moving the ball, like keeping us in the game during that time. There was a crucial
the game was lost in the last 3 to 4 minutes. I'm not saying it's Pritchard's fault, but the game was lost in the last 3-4 minutes.
We did have a 9-point lead with 4 minutes
and we
left,
missed
so
free throws, and we had a lot of other things that contributed to it.
Reasons we lost in my mind. And it comes down to this. The last 3 to 4 minutes, I wanted a timeout. No timeout happened. They're going on a run. LaMelo Ball's feeling himself. He's balling away. No timeout. The guys are dogged. We're on the back of a back-to-back from the road. Like, get the guys a break. Let them rest for a second. Then you have plays like, I don't understand, Joe Mazzulla pulling out Porzingis for that last play. LaMelo Ball, no rim protection. I get he wanted to be switchable, but what did that do for us? Instead, they were able to get an easy 2 at the bucket. Where Porzingis, we saw the night before, have a huge block in the clutch of the game. So he pulls Porzingis out, makes no sense. Then you have Drew Holiday missing free throws. I mean, if he hit one, we probably aren't sitting here tonight upset with an L on our lap. Then you have Jaylen Brown shooting a 3 with 28 seconds left. He's ice cold all night long, and he chucks up a 3 in overtime with 28 seconds left. Like, there was no reason for a 2-for-1 there.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And I think it comes down to, like, there are guys that definitely can have the bulk share of the blame, and Pritchard just isn't one of those, is what
I'm not blaming
me
him
and Mike
at all.
are making.
I just don't think he got us a bucket when we needed to get a bucket.
No,
at the end of the day, the bucket was needed and he missed.
Yeah. So here's who, like, from on the court guys that have lion's share of the blame. We are talking about Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, right, not being able to hit, and then the whole team couldn't rebound. We gave up, what was it, like, we finished with 18 offensive rebounds or something like that we gave up. I'd have to look, double check. Offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I think 17 or 18.
17 offensive rebounds. It's just crazy. You're not going to win many games like that. Missing 10 free throws. So I think on the court, you have Drew Holiday for this game and Jaylen Brown to blame. Obviously, they'll get their share of games that they get the credit for winning. And then I think you also, and you hit on it with the no timeouts and then the lineup management, is Joe. Like, we still see some just mind-numbing choices sometimes from Joe. Like, we're getting killed on the boards. We are up by 2, and we don't have any rim protection in. And I mean, it's not like there's no overtime that's possible, right? Like, they don't have. There's nowhere that
Porzingis is an all-star. We have him sitting on the bench.
But here's the other thing too: is he holds up on the perimeter. So when we're talking about switchability, like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Who is?
You also have
why
a breakdown in defense on that last play, though. So I understand the not having the rim protector, but you have a guy who's trying to find a player who got like a wide open, and then LaMelo Ball just turns and runs for an open layup.
Yeah, well, it wasn't an open layup. It was contested by Jaylen and Drew. So, I mean, to call it an easy shot, I think would be.
Oh, he made
he made a tough shot at the end of the game. But at the same point, like, how much different is that shot with? And then we are playing the results a little bit, right? They didn't go for 3 and they didn't make a 3. So, but I just don't get the decision, because who's going to critique him for having the best defensive lineup out there? I don't think anyone would. And I don't think you can make a decent argument to say that KP isn't your best defensive center, your best defensive five. Like when we're talking about switchability, like what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's the last where Celtics were up 108-99 with 2 minutes left in regulation, right? And we lose, right? We just talked about Memphis, Raptors. We've seen them over and over. Sixers this year. We've seen them finish it in the clutch. I get it's one game. There's no need to overreact. I promise you we're not seeing.
And you're underhanded too.
Yeah, we're underhanded. The back-to-back.
Or shorthanded, I think
you can label an excuses, but it is what it is, right? We're not going to see the Hornets in the playoffs. I promise you. But final 5 possessions. Jaylen Brown, 10-footer, misses. Jaylen Brown, 3-point attempt, miss. Tatum has that layup, goes halfway down, falls out. Holiday misses 2 free throws, and then that play to Tatum in the corner, Hauser has to chuck up a 3 and misses. Like, not good 5 final possessions. And my biggest problem with that is Jason Tatum had a layup, and that was it. Like, Jaylen Brown, just move out the way. Tonight's not your night. You're 0 for 5 from 3. You're 5 of 17. We're taking 10-footers and 3-pointers, and we need a bucket. Jason Tatum has 45 points. Move out his way.
I think that 10-footer, I think if memory serves me right, which it might not, I'd have to go and watch. I don't think that was a terrible shot, but I agree with you. Everything else is just kind of settling and then just not making plays that you need to make. Like that 10-footer is one that he should make and that he usually makes. Yeah, and same with the Holiday free throws. But I mean, again, like you said, it's one game and we have bigger fish to fry coming up this week, I think. So,
yeah, I think one thing I'd like to get resolved quickly is I still don't think Holiday's connected. Like, I just don't see him meshing at all points, right? And now we're 13 games in. Like, I want him to start kind of figuring that out. And I just feel like sometimes he's lost in the offense.
I think
you're defensive end.
I think you'll get there, right? He's a high IQ player, but there's nothing that like replaces run. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that there's no rushing it, there's no changing it. You just have to let it happen when it happens. And I think at some point, the nice thing about him is he doesn't really miss games, right? So he'll get plenty of time in the offense, in the flow with the guys where you'll see, I think it get better and better. And I think even we could talk to like game 13 versus game 1, 2, or 3. It does look much better already. So I think we're getting there. It's just not as fast as we want.
It was someone's like points and production has to go down. And I think Holiday's the guy that's happening to, because in the role of the offense with Brown and Tatum and Porzingis, White, like someone's kind of have to not like the production there. And I feel like at least I'm getting the defense from him though. The defense is elite right now.
And rebounding.
So that's why
he's never rebounded at this level in his career.
I'm fine with that, but then I would like to see him facilitate the offense a little bit more. Like, I'm fine with him not shooting the ball, but I'd like to see him facilitate the offense more and better. Okay, even I know you guys were okay with it because he drew the foul. He missed both free throws, but like you have Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, even Jaylen Brown on the court at that point where he goes to 62 free throw. He drove on 3 guys. Like, just head down, plowing into the lane. Like, what are we doing? Move the ball. Like, I want to see, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather him in that point guard role where he's facilitating, running the offense, calling a play. If Joe's not going to call timeouts, he's got to run plays.
But that might be
just bold. Like, he literally just had his head down, driving onto 3 guys. Yeah, he got fouled, goes to the free throw line, misses both. But it was like, I just felt like we could have got a better play than that. And that's where I want him to do better. I'm not asking him to get more points. Like, I'm fine with him getting 10 a night, if that.
I don't think you're always going to see that from a point guard, and even Derek White doesn't really play that role for us because
we haven't had a real point guard in a while.
Yeah, and I don't think we will because our offense is so wing driven. You're going to see Tatum and Brown bring the ball up and call plays, and Joe call plays from the sideline with the ball in their hands. So I definitely agree with you. Like, sometimes I would have been
fine with like him calling a pick and roll with Porzingis and like we saw Porzingis dominate the night before, in the clutch time. Get Porzingis going, get Porzingis in the lane. He's pretty good at drawing fouls, things like that, and hitting his free throws. But yeah, I mean, I agree. The thing is, we got not out of our next 9 games, 8 are at home. We go home against the Bucks. We go on the road for Orlando for Black Friday. But then after that, we got a long stretch until we don't go back on the road until December 19th. So that gives – you're talking in a month we're traveling one more time. Literally in a month. So, I mean –
you're on the road.
You're getting a lot of home games. You're getting practices in.
Always home cooking.
Exactly. Yeah. I will be in the Garden the 28th. This Tuesday.
Versus the Bulls.
In season game against the Bulls.
Yeah. So, if you want to move into looking forward into this week, we got the biggest game probably so far this year coming up against Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's for the thing for me is like I'm more nervous about Orlando than I am Milwaukee. I'm not kidding you. And I'm not making a joke about last year or losing them all the time. I genuinely think Orlando's a better team than the Bucks.
I think
Orlando's defense is one of the best in the NBA.
Their offense is like the 26th rated offense.
Milwaukee's going to be there in the end. Orlando, that's the thing. Milwaukee started off really slow, like a lot of teams do. Utah was on fire last year to start the year, and they fizzled out. Milwaukee's just a new team with new players trying to figure out that offense.
And they're already looking better.
Their
that
defense
game last
is
night
terrible.
Was...
the Boston Celtics should cook them. 100%.
We should have cooked the Hornets too.
Yeah, but this is a game. You're at home. Everybody gets up for.
We're not going to blow up Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like Milwaukee's terrible. I just think matchup wise, we should be able to blow out the Bucks compared to the Magic. The Magic have great defense, matchups, all that. Like the Bucks are not good, dude. They can't play. So who's guarding all 5 of our starters?
Yeah, and who's scoring against us for Orlando? Like we did. So they're both ones right now playing one-sided basketball. The Orlando defends at a really high level, and Milwaukee scores at a really high level. So there are different problems that you have to deal with. And we've had problems with guards cooking us so far this year. So I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely interested. I think it'll live up to the hype. I think it'll be a good game. And I would imagine Giannis and Dame are going to be fired up for that game, which means Giannis is probably going to bulldoze into 85 people and draw like 35 fouls and shoot 70 free throws. So it should be an interesting game.
And the thing is that Milwaukee's healthy now. They only have one player, Bouchamp or whatever his name is, the only player that's out as of right now. The rest of their team is full, which they've had a lot of people in and out of the
I'm just not sold on them. All right, one, you got Dame Lillard. Who's he guarding? Just follow me. Who's Dame Lillard going to guard?
In the game, it'll probably be matched up against Lillard or whoever they switch him into.
Yikes. Okay, Malik Beasley.
By White
or Holiday.
White. Yeah, and then you got Middleton and Giannis. Giannis going to take Tatum. Not a good defender.
He'll probably guard Porzingis, to be honest.
And who's Lopez taking? That's what I mean. Like, dude, put Lopez on an island. Stretch the floor. Put him on an island. Please put him on Jason Tatum and let him blow by.
About one of the best rim protectors in the league last year.
Dude, yeah. We're pulling him out, though. That's what I mean. Matchup-wise, we match up to beat the Bucks better than we do like a team like Orlando. Orlando, we got to be able to hit shots.
Who's going to score with us in that league? Who's going to score on us in that game? Who's going to?
No, I agree. Like I'm not saying we're losing to the Magic, but the Bucks are not that great of a team.
But the thing is, too, they have Lopez and again Giannis, who are going to be a big mismatch on the rebounds. We did poorly today against the Charlotte Hornets.
The Knicks have killed us on the boards.
Brooke Lopez and Giannis, 2 other 7-footers.
Lopez is averaging a whopping 4 rebounds a game right now.
Like, get him out there again against our other 7-footers. Like, again, we're supposed to play small ball unless we're going to play.
I get we're small, but on the defensive end, we should be able to score every time down the court.
It's a game that I'd like to start Horford. We have to start Horford.
Yeah, I think you go double big in that lineup too.
I disagree.
Okay, so is Tatum going to take on Lopez? Like in the post?
Yeah, that's fine. Or Drew. Drew does 1 through 5, baby. No, in all seriousness, how I think I'd match up. I'd personally be okay with Tatum taking the matchup of Giannis. Personally, I'd be okay with that.
You don't want that because you don't want him to get in foul trouble. You know Giannis is going to get called.
Yeah. Head down a bulldozer.
So you can't with Porzingis. If Porzingis goes in foul trouble, we're screwed.
That's why you have Horford guard him.
I get
Horford
it.
Is who's guarded him before.
I want my. Listen, here's the thing. In order for the Bucks to beat the Celtics, Giannis is not doing that by himself. We've seen all year Giannis by himself is not beating teams right now. He's not. It's not that type of NBA. When Lillard and him are clicking, they're winning, right? So if we have our double guards out there, Lillard's not dropping 30 points on us. Or he better not. So you're taking him out of the game with our double guards.
If all things go perfect, I agree.
We win by 50.
Always a line.
Dude,
He's not going to score one time.
no, but that's fine. If you want to put Porzingis on Giannis, then I'd put Tatum on Lopez.
I think you'll see Horford on Giannis and Porzingis on Lopez. I really think they'll do the double big lineup just for the matchup.
Now, the thing is, too, you're talking Al played Monday. He's got a rest now until Wednesday. So that's a good thing. So I mean, it doesn't. Again, it's not even about who really starts. Even at that point, it's fine. Like it's for the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. It's who's getting the minutes and who's closing the game.
Yeah, and I mean, just with Al Horford's throwback performance against Joel Embiid, I don't think you want to match anyone else up with Giannis on this team right now. Who else has been able to play on ball as good as he has with bigs? You know what I mean? So I think Porzingis is great in that floater role where he comes over and
so if you start
helps.
Al, which guard are you sitting?
Holiday probably.
It's crazy to imagine Drew Holiday in a world where he's not starting on an NBA team.
Yeah,
I know everyone has
the same thing. You can say the same thing for Horford too. He's been one of the best winners in the NBA.
He's like 47 years old.
He's 37. And how old do you think Drew Holiday is?
Like 34.
He's like 36.
I think he's 34.
Yeah. Google.
That's what we're gonna do right now. Drew
Holiday is 33.
No, he's not. No, he is 1990. Hey. I thought he was older than that. He's been around forever, it feels like.
Yeah. Regardless, so I mean, obviously, yes, it's a huge game in the Garden, right? Like we've gotten the Bucks Celtics comparison. The media is gonna love Bucks win to ride. They're back in it, things like that. So I'm excited about the game. I think it'll be a big game I know it'll be a big game for the Celtics. Crowd gets up. They made the joke tonight. All the college kids are back in Boston to get the crowd going crazy on a Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. And then we got Orlando. 2:30 game. I hate those games. I feel like we never win when we start like in the middle of the day. Like I'd love to see the stat on that. Like I literally think we have a losing record when it comes to that.
Unless we're playing in Charlotte.
Yeah, like on the road too. So that's kind of rough. They got to leave like Thanksgiving night or something to get down there. Then we got Atlanta 6:00 on Sunday, but back at home. So they get back home and take on Atlanta. They can put up points pretty heavy. They haven't been a bad team lately. So that I think really we got a big week. We got three good games ahead of us, and it'll be interesting to see how we can bounce back after what happened to us tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. Don't even want to think about it. It's one of those nights where I don't even want to get on. I don't even want to get on. It's one of those nights for me that I don't even want to get on Twitter and read like the irrational takes, and then I start thinking about it, and it really starts affecting me. I'm willing to trade, and then I'm willing to trade Jaylen Brown by the end of the night.
This loss is really eating you up.
Yeah, I mean it does stink. Like we had a big road. Man, just to have that streak, and imagine playing the Bucks and going 8 in a row after you beat the Bucks. Like I would have been at the top of the world.
Sometimes it's
now, when I beat the Bucks on Wednesday, I'll be back at the top of the world.
Up and down.
Yeah. So, anyways, hopefully Pritchard has a big game for Mike, especially in the clutch time. Hit some big shots so we can come back and report.
What does he have to do for you to be happy with his performance? I mean, it's probably his career high.
Happy with the performance. Great job, 21 points. The only thing that came off our bench tonight that could hit a shot. But we'll post the clips. The last 3 minutes did absolutely nothing for the team. Undersized, just didn't help us.
Undersized.
Such a hater. Like he just wants to make you as miserable as he feels right now.
Yeah. If we won, I would have been like, dude, pay him Pritchard all day.
Gotta start that man.
All right, well, new win streak starts on Wednesday against the Bucks. Not a better team there would be to start the streak against Orlando than the Hawks. Hopefully we'll be back with a big win streak already started. See you guys.